What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Creature Cast, the official Console Creatures podcast. I'm your host today, Steve Vegvar, and alongside me, as always, my good pal Bobby. How the heck are you on this
I'm doing
beautiful Sunday?
I'm doing beautiful. It's
Yeah.
surprisingly warm for a Sunday. It was a nice, beautiful evening, afternoon, and yeah, I've been doing pretty good. I've been enjoying the last remnants of summer, and now I'm ready for the fall, I guess. I mean, I have no choice, but yeah. What about you?
No, same thing. I mean, it's weird. You look outside, it feels very fall. It feels like this is the first real wonderful weekend of fall. But then, yeah, the weather itself, not fall at all.
It doesn't make any sense because I had to turn the air conditioning on today because it was like 24 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just had to keep cool inside because we had people over. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I had to jack it up once more before the heat.
Well, hopefully for the last time, hopefully we're here. I mean, we're a week and some change away from Halloween. We should be in the crisp fall weather at this point.
Oh yeah, no, it needs to be like cold for Halloween.
Exactly.
Halloween needs to be like I'd even say snow, but light snow. Like that's when we're growing up. As I had snow for Halloween.
I do remember that quite often, but there were some good Halloweens where you could go
Oh yeah,
outside in just a costume without having to bundle up.
yeah. As long as you need a sweater. Actually, you don't even need a sweater. Just run around. You're always hot enough anyway.
Exactly. When you're running around as Batman on the streets of Guelph, Ontario, as a young Steve. Yeah.
And Guelph, what a place! I for anyone who knows Guelph, I mean,
Shout out Guelph.
you know Guelph.
Yeah.
It's the Gotham of Ontario.
It's up there for sure. Yeah. Yeah. But we are here for a very special reason with a hands-on preview of Lego Horizon Adventures coming out next month. November 14th is right around the corner. Brand new game from Studio Gobo in collaboration with Guerrilla Games, publishing on, Nintendo Switch, PC, and PlayStation 5. A very exciting new venture for PlayStation. I mean, we're going back to the Switch right after MLB. I'm convinced that they saw data and something from MLB, and they're like, oh, we could be making a lot of money. And yeah, I guess for a Lego game, it just kind of makes sense to diversify the portfolio, expand off of PlayStation, PC. It's exciting stuff.
How can you blame anyone for wanting Lego games on Switch, right? I mean, like honestly, for sure, if they publish numbers, we would see like Lego probably outsells by like 8-1. Yeah, and for good reason, right? Kids love Lego, and I know I do. I
love Lego.
I'm currently working on the Super Mario and Yoshi set, so like
I just finished mine this weekend. Love it.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Lego Horizon. Oh, God, what I don't even know the name. Is it
Lego Horizon Adventures?
Adventures. I keep thinking Lego Forza Horizon because I mean that was the coolest thing they ever did. But
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean looking forward to it. I mean, let's start with this. What did you think of the reveal? Because like I know you and I were at SGF, and like I was like, this is insane to me. Like they're actually doing a collaboration that isn't Fortnite because like that's all Sony's willing to do, and then now we're getting a Lego crossover. So like that was pretty cool. But yeah, I thought it was great.
So I mean, we're in this era where PlayStation is putting so much stock into Horizon. I mean, given Herman Hulst's background in Guerrilla Games, and now being of utmost importance there at PlayStation, it makes sense that they're going all in. We got the remake of Horizon Zero Dawn around the corner, and then Horizon Adventures. I mean, when I first heard of it, I was like, this is kind of weird to me. I love a good Lego game. I was kind of burnt out on them, especially coming out of Skywalker Saga. I felt like that one was very long in the tooth. Some of the recent DC ones and Marvel Lego games, I was like, okay, it's just we've got a formula. As good as the Lego games are, as many hours as you can pour into these games, I'm just like, okay, I'm not as invested as I was back in the day with Lego Dimensions. And when I saw Lego Horizon Adventures, I was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to be the one that pulls me in, but this all being said, now we're a couple, months removed from that first reveal. I got to play 90 minutes of it, which equated to roughly the prologue of the game, as well as I would say like 5 of the core missions. And within those, you're playing through these like little compact missions, and then coming back into the hub world, which we've seen in the trailer, where you can start building out your little area, start building out buildings and stuff to interact with, and really kind of customize this home base, if you will, and kind of make it your own. We've seen it in the trailers. There's roller coasters you can build, and Ferris wheels, and there's outfits for Aloy. Like there's a real synergy between everything that we know that is Horizon, the franchise, and then Lego-fying it all to make it accessible for a younger audience.
So to confirm, it's not like an open world, like actual Horizon game. It's just
No.
okay. That's right, honestly, because it seemed like it was from the trailer. I know that we've only like honestly. Here's the other thing. Like we're looking for a video to publish for this thing, and it's only got like 3 minutes of like anything on there, so it's hard to just discern what we're looking at. But it looks exactly like what I would think a Lego Horizon game would look like, and I half expected open world, but that's pretty cool. Regardless, if you're saying it's a hub world, I think that's the best way to transition from an open world to something like this, because you're not really concerned with the scale. It's just here's your playground, play in it, and then we move on. And like I like that. So yeah, no, that's good to hear.
No, exactly. And that's to me, as soon as I started getting into it, where I started finding myself way more interested, way more attached to this, because I think like the thesis of what I came away from within 90 minutes of this is that it's a more pure distilled Lego experience, stripping out all the busy work, it's none of the, oh, now you have to collect all these different Horizon characters, because then you have to replay the mission so that when you get I don't know, Helix, or if you unlock Helix, you can access this other area within this mission to unlock a brick or something like that. There's none of that. There's no, oh, you have to now unlock a car to then traverse this open world, or a helicopter or stuff like that. No, it's very much you're going through Horizon Zero Dawn story. It's just Lego-fied with this hub world that you come back to after each mission. You can kind of customize it to yourself.
Yeah.
There's a huge element of it being still very much Horizon, but it's Lego-fied. It's catering to a younger audience.
I think that's probably the best case scenario for this game. But let's start with this. Is it voiced? Is it the same people?
Ashley Birch is there. Yep, absolutely. I struggled to realize whether or not the secondary characters, because I mean, one of the interesting things
actually,
we are.
Yeah,
sorry,
it's
go ahead.
actually the one we care about. I be honest, I think actually the one I care about outside of Lance Reddick and Ashley. I felt, and it's not the knock to the voice actors. They all felt interchangeable. So yeah, you could probably swap them. I wouldn't know, but it's just Lance and Ashley that are I think key to this franchise. So it's like having at least one of them there. That's all I want. Like
100%. And what I was going to say is that yes, unfortunately, we live in a post Lance Reddick world right now. I didn't get a chance to see whether or not his voice is in the game, if they re-recorded lines, or if they just used lines that were from the game. Because for Ashley Birch and Aloy, I know a lot of criticisms within the core Horizon games have been, well, she doesn't really have a personality. There's not that much humor or levity within the character of Aloy. Here, it really does seem like they re-recorded a bunch of lines, or just like used new lines altogether, because she's just glowing from every single time that she's speaking. It does seem like she's having a lot more fun, and able to bring a little more like childlike wonder to the performance and stuff like that. It's not as I like Aloy, but for other people, they think that it's grating or something like that, that she could come off as like standoffish or something like that. I didn't get that at all within Lego Horizons. I thought that she was very endearing, very charming, a lot more fun, high-spirited and stuff like that. So it felt like a very different performance.
That's good. But like, to be fair, I mean, if you've played or Horizon Zero Dawn, she is standoffish for good reason. So like,
oh, of course.
if that was a criticism to her performance, like I don't agree with it, just because like,
Neither do I.
we know like her background after, and it's like, well, yeah, I think I'd be the same if I was her. I'd pretty much be grumpy. But yeah, no, I mean, and much to the point, I think if there's a remaster in a week, I feel like they probably just had her record stuff for this based off the remaster. So like that's probably what I feel like they just did a remaster and they imported those lines into this game. So like either way, like that's cool. I'm glad to hear she's back. Is there like an overarching story? Is this like any way tied into the franchise, or is this literally just a one-off where it's just like we're in Horizon's world?
No, this is Zero Dawn. So I mean,
Okay.
I was laughing with the people at PlayStation because I was like, Zero Dawn is a very complex story. It has very mature thematic storylines, and it deals with post-apocalyptic. It deals with flashbacks and everything. I'm actually surprised at how much Studio Gobo was able to kind of take the major important beats of Lego or of a Horizon and then just make it accessible for a younger audience. It starts with your introduction to little Aloy and how she grows up with Rost and how she gets her first focus, and essentially the demo or my hands-on preview kind of went through the very beginning of the game all the way to the point where you meet Varl and go into your first cauldron. And
Okay.
so within that time, you're going through essentially the opening, I don't know, 8-10 hours of Horizon Zero Dawn, but it's all just kind of truncated into a more humorous, lighthearted retelling of that story.
Which is fine. I mean, like, it's for children, so I kind of feel like it makes sense.
Oh, of course. I was just honestly shocked that they were able to do that. Like I'm not going to spoil anything from Horizon Zero Dawn or Lego Horizons, because if this is your first time playing through the story, like there are important moments in it, but for people who do know, there are some important character moments in those opening 10 hours. And I was shocked that they kind of just replicated or kind of put like an interesting spin to it. But then again, I just keep going back to it's all just Lego-fied. It's all kind of meant for a younger audience, which comes across to me as like it really does work. The humor that they inject into that story works so well. I'm chuckling. I've got a smile ear to ear from like some of the dialogue or some of the quips that they have within each like between each other. It's very endearing in my opinion.
I think that's the best you could ask for in this situation. I mean, if you're telling me it's just a retread, which is fine. That's fine. Make it fun. Make it a little bit humorous. Let a different generation finally experience these games. I mean, at this point, the first game's 8 years old, 7 years old. So, like, yeah, perfect. Like, I feel like some of my younger relatives would probably end up loving this way more than the actual game. So like it's a good way to introduce them to more adult themed games as they're finally hitting that new plateau of games, which at this point is like Fortnite and like Rocket League, and like that's basically it. So like yeah, great. This is a great introduction. It feels like, and I feel PlayStation's trying to tap into a new market, which they haven't done in quite some time. I mean, for years they've been for the adult gamer. So yeah, it's great to see that there's like a movement to introduce these characters to younger people, which is great.
Of course, yeah. And it also, it's not even for like a younger audience per se. It could be for adult audiences who
it's for any
those criticisms we had before. Maybe just the gameplay, the tone, the graphical settings of Zero Dawn and everything. Maybe it was just not really up their vibe, and Lego could be that, and that this could be their jumping off point to re-examine or experience the Horizon IP for the very first time as well.
So my question is, how does it play? Like, what can you compare it to? Is it similar? I don't think it's obviously going to be like a one-to-one translation from that to that, but like, is it like a truncated version, like Lego Star Wars, you have basic attacks. You have a bow. Obviously, you can see she's got a bow in the
Mhm.
in the key art. Is it basically just simple, slowed down combat? Like, what are you doing? Is it the same stuff? Is it
So it's taking all the, I guess, touchstones of what makes Horizon Horizon and just distilling it into very simplistic, streamlined gameplay mechanics. So, like I said, it's a Lego game. So you're going out, you're tackling these little maybe 15-minute long missions. And once you're in there, yeah, you're playing as Aloy. You can play up to two-person co-op. So along the way, I had someone from PlayStation playing with me as Rost, and then later as Varl. Once we unlocked and found Varl, for them, they were able to use like a throwing spear, which was a little more slow. Aloy obviously has her bow and arrow, and then you're going up against the tribe members of the opposing tribes and stuff like that, as well as the robots, the robo dinosaurs and stuff like that, the machines as they call them in the game, and then it is that kind of just similar gameplay loop. So you can actually go into these smaller areas. There's thick brush that you can kind of sneak your way into. Aloy will automatically just start, going into stealth. Use your focus, hit the button on your dual sense. Boom, you
right?
get like a little blue beam. And on the machines, you can actually see where their weak points are, similar
Oh,
to the
beautiful.
Horizon. And then yeah, you're pulling back your arrow, you're firing off arrows very quick. You're not setting up traps or anything like that. As far as what I experienced in the demo, it's not as intricate as that. You're not really playing
Right,
with the elements, but yeah, if you're going up against some of the smaller ones, you're going and trying to hit them in the head. The ones with like the antlers, you're trying to hit them in the back. Everything
right.
is being highlighted in yellow, and once you start picking off all those little like machine parts, the machine kind of falls apart and explodes. And then same with your when you're going up against the tribe, you're just hitting them. They got a health bar, they're going down, and then all of a sudden that happens. Along the way, in part of like the latter half of the missions, you start unlocking like kind of abilities or like better equipment, which that you can carry into the rest of the mission. So, for instance, at one point I got rocket boots. Not that this has any tie to Horizon, but it basically gave Aloy like a double jump, and
Right.
as you're doing that double jump, the boots are shooting off flames and stuff like that, and that can
Oh,
cause
wow.
like elemental damage to some of the brush and everything. So if enemies are running through it, they'll start catching on fire, stuff like that.
See,
There. Sorry, go ahead.
that's
Yeah,
cool. That's cool. Like, why is that not like that would make sense in actually
it's
the
really
lore of the
cool.
game. So like now I kind of want that in like the next Horizon game. Why doesn't she have fire boots that let her double jump?
It's really fun.
That's
They're on like an ammunition system, so I think you got like six right off the hop, and then as you eliminate enemies, you can kind of pick up and refuel those boots. The next one is, and this is when I was like, okay, now I'm really understanding where the Lego-ness of this comes in, where it's just
right.
completely off the rails. Where the second ability that I got was a hot dog stand, and I was like,
Ooh,
I
okay.
don't really understand this, but okay. Take it into the mission, see a whole bunch of enemies, you throw down the hot dog stand, and then starts firing like artillery missiles into the into the air,
Okay.
and then like you get like the red rings and everything, and you have to avoid them, or lure enemies into them, and then they start exploding and everything. It's absolute chaos, it's madness, but then it's cool because say you and I are playing together, you can have
Yeah.
the rocket boots, I can have the hot dog cart, and then you can be doing your little flips and everything. I'm laying down artillery fire and stuff like that. It's wild and chaotic, but it feels great as a Lego game.
I mean, that's probably the best thing you could ask for, right? I mean, there have been some really bad Lego games in the past. Like, no, I'm not gonna name drop them because some kids probably like them. But like, yeah, like honestly, when you get a really good Lego game, like it's really good. And like to that point, I actually did like Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. I think that was probably the best thing they ever did. But I mean, that's the best thing I can ask for because like it could be really kid geared toward it could be developed geared towards children to the point where it's not even fun for someone like you and me to play it. But like you're telling me all this stuff, and it feels like there's enough variety to differentiate itself not only from Lego but from Horizon. So like that's like a 2-for-1. Like you can't really expect from a game like this because it feels like they're breaking the formula that Horizon established, not only in graphics but in gameplay. So like all these little things that they're changing, like really incentivize me to go back and actually play this game to completion.
And that's the thing is that it really does feel like, yeah, that completion is way more accessible and
Yeah,
obtainable in this game where, again, I kind of talked about it earlier. I liked Skywalker Saga for what it
yeah,
was, and had I been a kid that, gets 1 or 2 games a year, that would have been
yeah.
my game for an entire year. There's
Oh,
so many
100%.
hours, but for me, don't I don't have the time to stick with that. But here, like I mentioned, there's no real busy work when you're going through the levels. It's not like your, traditional Lego games where you enter room to room and you're incentivized to break every little thing, grab all the little studs so you can pay for this and that when you get back to the hub world. Here,
Yeah,
there were some like collectibles too. There were some chests to find, a couple things to build along the way, maybe like 5 like totems, I think they were. But yeah, when you're going like moment to moment, you're not filling in the time by hitting
right.
everything just to get a stud to move on. Like you're actually playing through in the means of a story, and I thought that was way more compelling for a game like this. I don't feel like I'm just being spoon fed more content just for the sake of it. It feels like, no, it's way more of a deliberate choice to get you from point A to point B, get you to the end of the mission. You get your gold brick there, you bring it back to the base camp, then you can unlock a hut, which then you can start doing like the customization, a little more of the moment to moment busy work, because
Right.
that way when you get back, say your front facing hub, I can make it look a different way than yours. I can make a Ferris wheel over there. I can make my dining room table look a certain way. It's all very customizable and tailored to how I want it to be. But again,
Yeah.
it's all supplemental stuff. It doesn't feel like you have to do all this busy work. It's there if you want to customize it. If you want to dress Aloy up as, Sackboy from Little Big Planet, go ahead. But it's still just trying to retell that Horizon Zero Dawn story at the end of the day.
That's good. So did I guess Sony confirm, like, is it just the first game start to finish? Like we're just getting, you know, that first chapter? Is this like what did you get any information from Sony about like what we're to expect?
My
Did they
understanding is that it's just Zero Dawn. I don't think that it's the Frozen Wilds, anything like that. They didn't talk about that, and I didn't from again, they didn't want to comment it on it
yeah,
outright, but there was no suggestion that there was going to be a different take on the story, that we're going to be, splitting off into this other
yeah,
unexplored story. I think it is just going to be, here's what Zero Dawn is for fans. It's just going to be
yeah.
in a very different medium, a very different fashion of storytelling. Yeah,
Okay, perfect. That's why I mean, bro, that's probably the best case scenario. But like, yeah, you never know, right?
of course.
These games, like, I mean, it might be marketed as one thing, and then we get the actual game, and it's completely different. But like, I don't believe Sony's, one to stir the pot enough to change things. So that's fine. I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I'm sure people listening will probably be like, well, if I've already played it, is it going to be the same thing, or should is there more to come? And as a fan, like I hope this is like a good starting point to maybe get the second game. I would love to see that because, like, I mean, everything you're telling me is right on my alley. Like, I feel like this is something I'm going to be investing
Mhm.
at least a couple weeks with. So, like, if it does well, like, I would love to see, what's the second game look like? Are they going to up the ante in like the hub worlds, or are they going to, you know, add more combat elements? Are they going to add more variety of dinosaurs? Like, what are we going to get? But like, I mean, so far, I mean, just like we said, from the 3 or 4 minutes that have been online, it seems pretty varied in what they're trying to do. So like, that's great. I think the final question I have is just like, do you play anything that kind of had you concerned? Or are there any like maybe slow down, frame rate issues? Was it smooth? Like, what did you notice about this game that maybe had you kind of questioning if it's ready or not?
Nothing. I had no pause for concern or issues in terms of how it performed. I was playing
Right.
on a base PS5.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, is that I think the advantage of them kind of pulling back on the amount of content and
Right.
doing a more linear, streamlined approach. This game looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Just down to some of the details where you're running and your Aloy's like kicking up little studs of snow, or the water looks beautiful. Like there's reflections in the water, or
Yeah.
quote unquote Lego reflections. It's not like ray tracing or anything like that, but there's particle effects and stuff like this. Game looks as gorgeous as you would kind of expect a Horizon game, knowing how gorgeous Horizon games are. Yeah, Studio Gobo really kind of took that part of what makes Horizon so special, is its
Right.
beauty, its fidelity, and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
kind of just brought it over to a Lego game. And I was frankly shocked. The other thing that I really like, that's a huge change from a lot of the Lego games, is how it handles local co-op. I'm
Yeah.
I'm really I got tired of playing local co-op in Lego games where if you get
Right.
too far away, the screen splits in half and you're just kind of untethered, and the screen starts doing like the weird, like choppy. You guys are just going in totally different
Right.
directions. Here, you're forced on the one screen. If your secondary character, like the player
Right.
two, goes too far away or anything, they kind of just get like brought back, like their studs just like break apart and they come back to the screen. I think that's really cool. I like that, given that how gorgeous the screen is and how it's supposed to be this linear
Right.
experience. There's not a real reason for someone to go venture off entirely in a whole different direction. There's not really a reason why you guys shouldn't be within close proximity to one another. So I like that handling of local co-op, and I did confirm that that's kind of the same thing with online co-op as well. So if you're playing online and someone just decides, hey, I'm going to go far off here, they're just going to be brought back from where the main character is, who the first person is. Yeah.
Right on. Okay. So like everything sounds like it's shaping up to be like a pretty exciting revisit to the Horizon world. So like
Yeah.
with that said, yeah, like what do you feel like the community is gonna think? Do you feel like it's the right direction for Horizon? Would you want to see something else from them? Or
I
what
mean,
do you
that's the big thing. I'm a staunch Horizon believer.
yeah,
I really like the franchise. I still go back and forth of like, what is the end goal
yeah,
here? Because I agree. I think bringing this to the Switch, having it more accessible in terms of its content, and making it a
right,
Lego game, that's all great. I mean, yeah, you're definitely going to attract a whole different audience. But where do
yeah,
you go from there? It's not
yeah,
like you're introducing this to a 10-year-old and then you're saying, all right, well, great. Guess what just came out as well? Horizon Zero Dawn remake, and now you get to play this, and then
yeah,
you get to go to. There's still, like, you're going from one extreme to the other, and I just wonder. I know there have been rumblings of kind of this. You kind of brought it up, at this kind of like Fortnite online MMO version of Horizon.
yeah,
And so I wonder if that's going to come into play sometime soon and kind of be the middle ground, where now this younger audience who's into the Lego Horizon game can then go, okay, well, now I really like Aloy. I really like the machines. I love the lore and world of this. Now I'm going to graduate from the Lego game and go to this MMO. And then, in a couple of years and everything, I'm going to experience the remake, experience for Forbidden West.
right,
Uh, I'm just, yeah, again, I just don't know if this is going to be enough to bridge that gap between, yeah, very young and contemporary, like mature rated audiences. And two, I don't know if this is going to convince a whole bunch of people who have kind of written off the Horizon series and
right,
bring them back in. I think what this is going to do inevitably is just find a brand new audience entirely. But what you do after that, I don't really know. And
yeah,
that's kind of Sony's responsibility from here, is to entice them to go out and explore and like really flesh out this property, because now that we know the Netflix series is kind of postponed or canceled, we don't really know what is that next step for Horizon, where it's kind of everyone's ball game. Everyone gets to enjoy it, and it's not. This is a high fidelity PS5 game, the third game in the core franchise, because there's a lot of baggage there. So I'm very eager and curious, but yeah, I still have a lot of questions on how this is going to perform and who's going to be attracted to this game.
That's basically what I kind of feel like we have to just leave it on, because it's like a month away, but knowing who this could potentially be for, like what's the end goal, what's next for this series, like there's just so many questions I have, and like I feel like we're gonna have to wait until launch day to kind of see whether reception is warm, if it's cold, like how many people are receptive to this game. I online it feels like it's generally positive. I'm trying not to look for anything too negative. I know there's obviously some people who hate Aloy as a character or whatever, but I feel like on launch day we're gonna see whether this game sets the stage for the next couple of years of Horizon, as they build the third game, as they build this MMO they have, as they build the next crossover. So with that said, I feel like you seem like you had a great time with it. You're pretty receptive to what you've seen. Now it's the general public's turn to say, well, let's see how this plays out. And I think that's the best thing you can do. But like, I feel like media will like this game for what it is. It's hard not to, right? I mean, you combine an incredible, colorful world like Horizon, and then you put it with Lego. It feels like a surefire thing.
Yeah, and I mean, aside from the politics of what Horizon is and whether or not people like it for what it is, I think in terms of a content ready video game, this is a fun game. I think like whether or not we're looking at the Horizon IP or not, this is just I had a lot of fun just playing it and experiencing it, which is a great sign. It doesn't fringe on whether or not this is Horizon, or I think that anyone can really jump in and just enjoy the content here, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So with that said, do you have anything else you want to maybe mention about it as we wind down the episode?
I think we covered everything. I mean, again, it was a rather short demo, 90 minutes. It flew by. Like I said, it was about 5 minutes. The last thing I do want to mention, the cauldron level. I mean, we saw it in the trailer. I was really hoping that getting into this preview that I would be able to experience it. And I don't know if this is just the first one. I don't want to assume this is going to be how it is. I felt like it was the most disappointing part of it, only because it didn't feel like the cauldrons in the game. And what I mean by that is that in Horizon, you have this sprawling open world. You're going after machines and everything. And then once you get to a cauldron, it's very much, hey, we're gonna hit you with a lot of puzzles, and then at the end, it's a great boss fight. Here, there was really none of it. None of either. This is just another area for you to attack enemies, and then you get out on the other side, and the demo ended. And I was like, oh, I was hoping for a little more of a challenge, a little more of a puzzle there, and I was hoping for maybe a boss fight or something like that. But again, maybe that was just for the demo. Maybe there's surprises left for the game. But from what I experienced from my very first cauldron, I was like, oh, it's just a refreshing change of scenery more than what a cauldron really represents in the Horizon franchise.
Right on. Well, I mean, we're 3 weeks out, so like honestly, I guess we'll find out then. But like, just much to your point, the cauldrons were probably my favorite puzzle sections of Horizon. Like honestly, I think I had the most challenge, trying to figure those out, maneuvering across all the dinos, and making sure like I was equipped enough to deal with the boss, because once the boss comes, like you're basically throwing everything you have at it to survive. So having that removed, I really hope it was just part of the demo, and it's not a full game situation. But other than that, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
I'll end it with that. Lego Horizon Adventures launches November 14th, 2024. I think PlayStation, Switch, and PC. But everything but Xbox. Everything but, which makes no sense. I mean, At that point, like you're just being picky. Like just put it on Xbox. But like whatever. Here it's neither here nor there. I'm sure we'll eventually see on Xbox.
That would be cool. But again, coming back to what we were saying earlier, clearly they saw something from MLB and they're like, no, we need to tap into this specific audience more than anything else. But yeah, no, you're totally right. It's just less than a month away. I'm eager to play more of it. But I guess that's about it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this. We'll definitely have more on the game as we get closer to launch. Want to hear from you guys when you start playing, whether or not this is what you want out of Horizon. But Bobby, people want to connect with you, follow the website, find more content, where could they do so?
You can find us first and foremost on Bluesky. We're gonna stick with that going forward. I think we're gonna focus on that. Look us up, Console Creatures on Bluesky. Look at my account, bpashlidas, on all social media, and follow my link tree. All links are there. Spotify, YouTube, the website's there. Just take a look and follow us on every platform.
Beautiful. And as for me, I'm across the internet, including Bluesky, which feels like lots of people are migrating to. Wonderful stuff. Great vibes over there. Yeah, you can find me everywhere at Asvikvari. Once again, I appreciate you all tuning in for this, and we'll be back next week. Actually, we'll be back this week. What are we talking about? We'll be back with more video game discussion soon. We appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.